guys, Julia here from JM Squared Vintage. Welcome back to the channel. I am here today with a ship with me. These are all orders that came through over the weekend. Such a weird weekend, guys. Like, it was so dead Friday and Saturday. Sunday, boom, lots of sales, some really big sales, and really just made up for an otherwise slow weekend. So lots of interesting stuff to talk about here. But before we get started here, guys, if this is your first time here, if this is your first time stumbling on my channel, first and foremost, welcome. I am Julia. That is my name. We talk all things thrifting and vintage and the business of reselling on the internet here. If that sounds like something that you might be into, consider hitting subscribe down below. I would love to have you along on this journey. But without further ado, guys, we have a lot to get through. It's a little bit late in the afternoon, so I gotta get these things packed up and off to the post office. So why don't you go grab yourself a snack, grab yourself a drink, sit back, relax, and let's get into the shipment. So the first piece we have, this is such a cool piece, and it took me so long to list this. So this is a vintage suede shirt. Now, I found this in the bins in like a garment bag. The garment bag was just kind of sitting in the bins. Nobody had opened it. And this is just my PSA that if you see a garment bag, it was like an older garment bag. It looked kind of like, you know, it might have been in somebody's garage for a while. But like, if you see a garment bag, open it. Because I felt something in there and I'm like, may as well see what it is, right? Sure enough, it's this beautiful, like vintage leather shirt. And when I opened it up, it's from Joseé Lewis. And it's like new old stock. First of all, look at that price. And I'm gonna guess that this is at the absolute newest. This is from the 90s, just looking at that tag. So it had a few little spots on it. Looks like a little bit of moisture, but this is the kind of shirt that's gonna like patinate over time. But for whatever reason, I was just really nervous about listing it with those flaws, which, you know, I probably shouldn't have been, and I finally like bit the bullet. So while I've had this for over a year, I really only had it listed for like 2 months. But what an absolutely exciting find. I remember opening up that garment bag and being just like smacked in the face with the smell of leather. So this had probably been in that garment bag for a long time. These little spots are definitely not mold or anything. It was definitely creased, and the creasing, again, something that's gonna fall out as this gets worn. This is the kind of thing that's gonna look better in 20 years than it does today. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna guess this is probably 80s or 70s. That's my guess, just going by the style of it. But I remember seeing that price tag and my jaw nearly hitting the floor. And if this is 70s, that price is absolutely ludicrous, you know? If any of you guys do a lot of leather, let me know if you're familiar with Joseé Lewis. I think that they're still in business, but this is the only piece I've ever seen or found. But either way, I had this listed, like I said, for about 2 months. I think it was just under 2 months when I finally got it listed. And I had it listed for $295. Really taking a wild stab on pricing there. And I went back and forth with the buyer, and we landed on a price of $230, which I was happy to accept, very happy to accept. And with a $2 cost of the bins, which will never cease to amaze me, this brought me to a profit of $196.84, and this was a sale over on eBay. So I'm so excited for this to be getting out and getting some use and hopefully getting some good age and patina to it, because that's like a lifetime purchase, right? Anyway. Hope he absolutely loves it and gets tons of use out of it. Next up, this is another one that I've had for a really long time, but this is from David Meester. And David Meester is very, very expensive. I wanna say probably this retailed about $400. This one is new with tags, but the price is not on it. But I've had this for a while, and I've had like a moderate amount of interest on it, but no takers. But just because of the price and because of the fact that it was brand new with tags, I knew that the right person was gonna come around for this. Either way, it's this beautiful like cadet blue, this really flattering ruched silhouette with that asymmetrical neckline. Gorgeous. Definitely something that I don't think photographed very well. But either way, I'm excited to finally be getting it onto a new home, because it is lovely. You know, David Meester is one of those brands that I know is a slow mover for me, but I usually sell it for decent prices. I don't see a ton of it, but I do grab it when I see it. I just anticipate it being a bit of a slow mover. And it's one of those brands that does tend to cater to a little bit more of like a mature audience. So just like a Chico's or a J. Jill, you know, you try to keep to those like larger sizes, just because there's a larger buyer pool in larger sizes for this kind of stuff. But if you are in the market for like a special occasion dress and you want something, you know, you don't want to pay $400 and maybe you don't want to pay $100, check out David Meester. I would say Tadashi as well. Similar vein, kind of catering to a more mature audience, but beautifully made stuff. And you can generally get them somewhere between like 40 and 150 bucks, which is what you're gonna pay at like Macy's minimum for like a formal dress. And Tadashi dresses are like $600 to $800. David Meester dresses are like $400 or $500. Anyway, I had this listed for over a year, like I mentioned. I had it listed at $54 and I got an offer for $45, which I gladly accepted. Very happy to be moving this one on. And with a $1 cost at the bins, this brought me to a profit of $35 even. And this is a sale over on Poshmark. So I hope she absolutely loves it. It is a gorgeous little dress. So, so flattering. Next up, now this is one that sold so lightning quick. I was so surprised. This is the most beautiful maxi skirt from a brand called Silken Poetry. And this sold within hours of me listing it. So it's this beautiful soutache lace. It's beaded all over. And for me, it's like the hem. Oh, gorgeous. Now this sold so quick that my first thought was maybe somebody saw it on the haul and was like waiting for me to list it, because that happens from time to time. Not super frequently, but it's something that I wouldn't be surprised to happen for something as like unique and special as this is. But then I realized this sold last night. Like I listed it last night and it sold last night. It dawned on me that the haul that I showed this skirt in was the haul that I had just uploaded to YouTube for release today. So today is the day the haul with this skirt in it went live. So it was not one of you guys. I mean, it could have been one of you guys, but it wasn't somebody waiting for it to be listed. Either way, this is a perfect example of something that is just so special that I didn't know the brand. It was silk, so that's a good thing, but just with how unique it is, how beautiful that lace is. This is a perfect example of something that just pure style pickup. And sold comps on these skirts, there's a bunch out there, are generally between like 40 and 60 bucks. This apparently was part of like a match set, so there was a top and a bottom. And some of the match sets that are for sale have sold for like 80 to 125. But I wasn't sure how fast it was gonna move, and I was obviously very pleasantly surprised. So I had this listed at $58, and I kind of anticipated getting in that $40 range. And within hours, that had popped through as a full price sale. So color me happy. I'm gonna go ahead and say, seeing as that this wasn't anything that I had like shown on the haul, this was something that, probably sold fairly organically, go ahead and consider this a bolo. So I had it listed for $58, popped through as a full price sale, same day as listed, with a $2 cost at the bins. This brought me to a profit of $49.69. And this was a sale over on eBay. And I hope she absolutely loves it. It's just so special, such a special piece. Next up, we've got a little 2-piece bundle, and the first piece here, now this is a brand that I absolutely love. A pair of pants that I was kind of surprised didn't move faster than they did. This is from AYR, also known as All Year Round, which like my favorite Oxford shirt that you see me wear is AYR. My favorite like linen shirt is AYR. Very, very expensive stuff. And this is called the Sizzle. So they are like slim leg with a little split in the front. And as I was thinking about this after they came through, like, why are they selling right now? This is what girls are looking for right now. They're looking for these slim, straight pants. So if you guys have slim, straight pants, make sure you're using the keywords, cigarette leg, stovepipe. This is what they're being marketed as. So these are gonna be keywords that people are looking for. But I think that that's why these popped off just now versus in the last year. I had these for about 8 months. AYR is usually a brand that sells incredibly quick for me, but these took their time. And I'm gonna clarify that the AYR that I let go of sells quickly. I don't let go of much of it because it's one of my favorite brands. And I refuse to pay $200 for an Oxford shirt. But the other piece she picked up, another straight leg pair of pants. These are beautiful white silk. Again, brand new old stock. This is actually a pair that my mom found. And same deal, they have like a slim kind of tailored leg with a nice big split up at the bottom. Like I look at these and I'm like, I could never. I would have something spilled down the front of these in 2.2 seconds. But man, if you can do it, bless you. So this was a nice little bundle to pop through. And this popped through as a full price bundle. But to put it into context, on those white silk pants, the sale price was like $70. And I'm gonna guess that they're from like the 90s. They were Diane Gilman, if memory serves me right. And then the AYR pants, I think that they were probably like $250 new. Like AYR is just very, very expensive. super high-end basics. But the price of the 2 pants with no discount was $108. And then my bundle offer, I always have a 15% off bundle offer that just automatically applies to any bundles of 2 or more on Poshmark. And with that price, it came to $91.80, and that was accepted. So with a total $4-ish cost at the bins, both here and back east, this brought me to a profit of $68.44, and this was a sale over on Poshmark. I had the white silk for about 5 months, and I had the AYR for 8 months. But either way, I hope she absolutely loves both of them. They're such gorgeous pants. And those AYR pants, I think I may look for a pair in my size, because I really love that style. Again, they're called the sizzle pants, but hope she loves them. Next up, this one was kind of a question mark when I picked it up. I got these at the thrift during one of my like all thrift hauls. This is a beautiful little Hanton style jacket from Yasuko. And I don't know if this is a brand that like has a following, but style wise, I thought it was so unique. It's 100% cotton. It's this beautiful gauze. I believe this company uses old kimono fabric from Japan. But for me, it was more of like, this is art to wear. This is kind of login looky. This is wearable art. This is, you know, art teacher, museum aesthetic. These are all keywords that I used for this. So I'm thinking that that's probably what moved this. It's just a really unique piece. One of those things that like you wear this to an event and, you know, there will not be another. There is absolutely positively no risk of it. It's in great condition. I love the colors. This kind of like brick red has these big funky buttons on the front. Just very, very, very unique. And size extra large as well. And this one's in great condition. I did get 2 of these. Unfortunately, the other one, when I was photographing it, I found a hole under the arm. I was like, and it was like in the fabric, not on the seam. So it wasn't necessarily something that I could repair, at least not with my sewing shops. That's always a heartbreak. And it's always during photography that I find them, because I'm really like steaming them out and, you know, kind of spreading them out and making them look great. And all of a sudden, there's the flaw. But such is a reseller's life, right? But this is another one that sold incredibly quickly, and I would love to know how the person who bought this ultimately got to this piece. I would love to know if this was something that like they got in through a keyword, you know, log and look or art to wear or whatever, or if this was a brand that they know. But either way, I had this listed for just 3 days. I had it listed at $42, and again, it popped through as a full price sale. So with a $3.50 cost at the thrift store, this brought me to a profit of $33.93, and this was another sale over on eBay. I'm telling you guys, the sales were like really good. I think my average sales price for this was about $60, so it was a good weekend. But either way, I hope she loves it. It's very unique. I hope she absolutely loves it and loves how beautifully unique that is. All right, next up here, man, I sold a lot of pants this weekend, which was great because I was running a bit of a surplus on pants. So this is a pair of pants from Fang. Fang's one of my favorite brands to find. It's one of those guaranteed quick sales. It's a very niche brand. All of their clothing is like very androgynous. It's very gender inclusive, and it's very specific. Like I can't think off the top of my head of any other brand that does what Fang does. They are mostly known for their really like colorful printed short sleeve and long sleeve button-up shirts, and they just have a cult following. So if you find anything Fang, even if it doesn't feel like much, guaranteed it's gonna sell well. Generally the shirts go between 30 and 50 bucks. Pants, kind of same deal, and always fast. Like I don't think I've ever had anything from Fang that's taken more than like 3 weeks to move. And I think that the thing that took 3 or 4 weeks to move was like a size extra, extra small. You know, it's one of those things where limited companies making anything like it, and by limited I mean basically it's just them, and a very dedicated buyer base. So I had this listed for just 2 weeks, and I had it listed at $45. This was just like a pair of black chinos. I think they were a size 18. They also have a great size range, which is also amazing. Another reason that people are really loyal to them. And got an offer for $35, which I gladly accepted. And with a $4.50 cost at the thrift store on these, this brought me to a profit of $23.50. And this was a sale over on Poshmark. So I hope they love them. Absolutely one of my favorite brands to find. It's just one of those guaranteed solid fast sales every single time. Definitely a bolo. Next up, we have another pair of pants. This is actually from my own. This is a pair of pants from Madewell. They're called, I think, the Carly Twill wide leg pants. And I had these in this taupe color. I also had them in a black. And they were a little too big. So I I decided to move them on because I just wasn't reaching for them in my closet. But I absolutely love these pants. They're just very comfy. They've got a big wide elastic band. They look like slacks when they're on. Just a little extra kind of baggy, and that fabric is super drapey. It's like a tensile twill. But it was definitely time to get these onto a new home. I sold the black pair a couple months ago. The shame about these pants in particular is that the tensile really did shrink quite a bit the first time you wash it. Even like with careful washing, you know, they shrink about 4 inches. And though I have long legs, like I'm not tall, so they basically actually shrunk to the perfect length for me. But if you were like a tall girl and you tried these on in store and they fit you perfect lengthwise and then you wash them, especially if you wash them and you didn't know what to do with any kind of cellulose fiber, if you wash them in like hot water and you dried them in the dryer, they would have shrunk probably 6 to 8 inches. But I handled these with kid gloves and they still shrunk up 4 inches. So it is one of those things that if you ever find these pants, again, I think they're called the Cari, make sure you get a measurement of that inseam because it can vary quite a bit depending on how the care was handled prior to you having them. On any pair of pants that has any kind of rayon or cellulose fibers in it, you should be doing that. But these in particular, maybe it was like the weave or the way that they cut it were particularly bad in terms of the shrinkage. But either way, I had this listed at $48. I had them listed for like 6 months. And I sent an offer for $43, which was accepted. These were owned, so there's really no profit. I think I paid full price or maybe 25% off on these, but what I got from Poshmark was $34.40. So I hope she loves them. I hope she gets a lot more use out of them than I did because they are a great pair of pants. Next up, this was a little dress that I've had for a while. This is from Point Sur. Now I picked this up because I thought that that fabric was super cool, high neck. It's got a little bit of like a Victorian gothy look. Size 12. And as it turns out, Point Sur is, I believe, a label that they carried at J. Crew. But either way, I just thought it was really cute. It's about knee length. It's got a little ruffle at the bottom, very kind of prim and proper. And again, with that high neck. It's all cotton, and I just love how unique this eyelet pattern is. Again, just kind of like a little black dress with a lot of interest. Would I pick up Point Sur if I saw it again? I don't know. I've had this for a while and it didn't really sell for a great price. So, you know, maybe if it's something super duper special or like brand new with tags, but it took a while to sell and it sold kind of like for a mediocre price. So if you see it while you're outsourcing, like definitely do a comp search and make sure the profit is going to be there for you. And, you know, B, consider if it's something that you can, you know, handle at the onset, knowing that it might take a little bit longer to sell. Now this might have taken a little bit extra long because it's black, and black is just very, very hard to photograph. Even like professional photographers struggle with black things to photograph. So it might have done better in a different color. Also, like a black eyelet is, I guess, kind of a niche thing. Most people who are looking for something that's eyelet are looking, you know, for white or green or something a little bit more summery, since it is a pretty summery fabric. But I don't know what I would do if I run into another one of these. I probably would leave it behind, I guess, at this point. But either way, I had this listed for over a year, and I had it listed at $32, and I got an offer for $25.92, which I gladly accepted. And with a $2 cost at the bins, this brought me to a profit of $18.02, and this was a sale over on eBay. So I hope she loves it. Again, super happy to be moving this one on. You know, it was just kind of a dud in terms of resale, but it is a lovely dress and probably was about $200 new. So I do hope she loves it. Next up, this was an interesting brand. Now, I had never seen this brand before. It's called Slate and Stone. And on the day that I found this shirt, it's just like a little linen navy blue pocket tee, super, super drapey and soft. I found 2 pieces from Slate and Stone. So I found this one and I found a really chunky full zip sweater cardigan. And it feels pretty high end. The cardigan is brand new with tags. But I'm interested to hear if any of you guys have ever heard of this. It looks like they are direct to consumer, and I had never heard of them before I found these pieces. And it didn't look like there was a ton of data on it, so let me know if you are familiar. Like the pieces feel really lovely. Again, like all of the fabrics are really nice. The styles are very classic. The jury is out on it for sure, for me. Like I said, I only have a sample set of 2, so if you guys have any more data to kind of add into the mix here, let me know how you've done with it. It's definitely a case of something that I picked up because of the fabrics, because of the style, right? But either way, I had this listed for about 5 months, so it didn't sell quickly. It was something fairly small, definitely something summery, so not the biggest deal that it didn't sell because I basically found it in the beginning of winter. But I got an offer for $22, which I gladly accepted. And with a $2 cost, this brought me to a profit of $16.79. And this was a sale over on Depop. I'll tell you, Depop was really slow over the weekend. It's funny, Depop has always been this way for me, like where it will be on fire for like 3 weeks. Even back when I first started with Depop and I wasn't getting many sales at all, I would get like one sale a week, you know, for 3 or 4 weeks in a row, and then I would get nothing for like 2 months. And now that I've grown Depop quite a bit, I'll have weeks where I'm selling like 10 to 15 items, I'll have weeks where I'm selling 20 items, and then I'll have 2 or 3 weeks of selling like 2 items a week. So it still kind of comes in the fits and spurts. It's just on a larger scale for me now. Let me know if you have the same experience, because I feel like this is a uniquely Depop thing. Either way, hope he absolutely loves this great little linen t-shirt. Next up, this is one that I grabbed and I kind of had to. This is vintage, I'm gonna say probably about Y2K, maybe 90s. Just like a little embroidered mesh tie front top. I don't think that this was a particularly like high-end piece back in the day, but I definitely remember these pieces that tied over the bust. Oh my goodness. But between it being brown, embroidered, and mesh, it's got a lot of things going for it that really kind of coincides with current trends. So it's definitely something that I had to pick up. Is this something that I would have like rolled the dice with at a regular thrift store at, you know, whatever, $4.99, $5.99? Probably not. But at a buck or two from the bins, absolutely I'm grabbing that. And the gamble paid off, right? It sold super, super quickly. This is the kind of shirt that I use like Y2K, 90s vintage, going out top. I love that that's becoming a thing again with the kids. That was such a vibe when we were like teenagers and young adults. What are you wearing tonight? Jeans and a going out top. But this just had everything going for it, other than a brand. There was no labels in it whatsoever. But either way, I had this listed for just 2 days. So again, like I said, this Y2K stuff, well, I think it's at like the peak right now in terms of trend. And I think it'll start to decline over the next couple of years. Right now is when it's at the highest point of demand and you'll probably be getting the best prices for like the right pieces. But like I said, I had this listed for 2 days. I had it listed at $28. I couldn't really ask for too much more, not knowing a brand or anything. But I got an offer for $20 and I did accept it with a $2 cost at the bins. This brought me to a profit of $14 even. And this was a sale over on Poshmark. So hope she absolutely loves it. Again, one of those things where it's like find another. Next up, now this is a brand I will pick up anytime I see it. I comfortably pay up for it, and this is Eileen West. Eileen West is known for making traditional nightgowns. Make sure you're using that keyword when you find something that's like Eileen West or Lands of Salzburg or anything like that. Anything that looks like this is gonna fall into a traditional nightgown. Now, Eileen West is still making things. I think that this is actually a newer piece. It's in like fantastic condition. It's not anything unless you find something really special or you find one of like the real cool vintage pieces, or if you find one where she's using the original name, which is Eileen with an A-I-L-E-E-N West. They're gonna be kind of squarely in that bread and butter between like 20 and 35, depending on what you've got, but they will almost certainly be a very quick sale. And it's one of those things where like the bigger the size, the better. But it's a brand to comfortably pay up for. It's a brand to pick up, especially if you see it in the bins. I will say, and this goes for any kind of like everyday use pajamas like this, just do a very, very, very good condition check before you buy it, especially if you're paying up for it. Just because these are the kind of things, it's not like a fancy shirt that gets worn 2 or 3 times, right? Like this is something that they probably wear once or twice a week, every week for years. So they can be in rough condition. The staining can be very set in. So I love picking up traditional nightgowns, but it is something you just have to be very discerning with a condition scan before you leave the store. But either way, I had this listed for $34 and I had it listed for just under 3 weeks. And I got an offer for $25, which is about what I expect for something like this. And with a $2 cost at the bins, this brought me to a profit of $18 even, and this is a sale over on Poshmark. So like I said, nothing that's gonna be like paying the rent, but this will be a guaranteed quick sale. Just like Wild Fang, same vein, very, very, very dedicated buyer base for stuff like this. I hope she loves it. This is, like I said, in basically brand new condition, so a lot of life left in that thing. And then finally, this is one that popped through overnight, and what an exciting sale to wake up to. This is the most beautiful scarf from Valentino. And I found this scarf in a pile of other, like, just trash scarves. You know, Target, shredded, Walmart scarves. But this is double layer silk. So it's silk chiffon on one side, it's silk charmeuse on the other, and it's two different lace prints. You have like a all over lace print here, and then you've got this like pink and black lace print. And I was really floored when I started to do like a sold comp search and saw what Valentino scarves were selling for. Like, it more than like doubled my sales expectancy. So, you know, I'll take it when that happens. But this is a large scarf. It's in flawless condition. But just the sheer amount of silk in this is like astounding. And again, to be in as great condition as it was, what a treat. Just goes to show, guys, if you don't look at scarves when you're outsourcing, you should start looking at scarves. And you'll understand why in about 30 seconds. Because I had this listed for $208. When I first picked it up, I was like, oh, you know, maybe I'll get 40 or 50 bucks for it. And then I saw the other sold comps, like I said, and they were all between like $150 and $300 for Valentino scarves. Now, I did have this listed for 6 months, which is fine. Anytime I have something in a higher echelon of price, I always anticipate it taking a little bit of extra time, but it popped through as a full price sale overnight. Like, I literally woke up to the sale this morning. Like, who needs coffee, right? But with a $2 cost at the bins, this brought me to a profit of $162.21. And this was another sale over on eBay. So some really big sales this week, guys. So I hope she absolutely loves it. Like, what a special piece. But that is it, guys. That is the shipment for today. I gotta get these things packed up and off to the post office. Thank you so much for hanging with me while I literally get my work done. It's always so nice to have somebody to talk to. But guys, if you had fun, please consider leaving a like or a comment on this video. Of course, don't forget to hit subscribe. I would love to have you along on this journey. But without further ado, guys, I hope you have the most beautiful weekend. Happy hunting, and I will see you all in the next one.